Hello, welcome pen friends. Welcome to the September 2025 progress report, where I talk about the fountain pens and inks that I have inked up and how things are really going for me with them. And we always start with a report card because I can't seem to remember to come back to it. But and then I have, of course, journal entries on each one of these. I ended up with 10. And this is a Hobonichi notebook, and it was sent to me by pen friend RL back in 2023, and then I have it in a Midori paper cover sent by pen friend MS. And what I had planned to do, I was going to decorate it with ink splats, but it feathers on this paper when you, and I don't know if you can see that, but I can tell that it's definitely, it doesn't behave the same as it does on the writing paper, because this is like a paper cover. So I'm going to have to go back to the drawing board on how to decorate it, but that's okay. I just decided to take a test. I'm glad I did, because it would have been real feathery like a chicken on the cover, and I can use some kind of scrapbook paper or combination of stickers, like collaging on it. You know, it's just that I know that the notebook's going to get dirty because it's a real light color, and I don't trust this work area very good for you know, it's an inky area, so I might as well have something that's already kind of darker colors. And anyway, that's just a little mini update on why I haven't splatted the front yet. Unless I maybe do splats on another type of paper and then you know, make it become the cover. That's an idea, I guess, because I would really like to see ink splats on the cover, so that would work just as well. Okay, let's get started, and as we go, I'm going to pull each of the ink tiles. Well, actually, we'll do that when we get to the individual pages. So we'll just go through the report card real quick, and then hopefully I'll remember to refresh your memory on which you know, I covered in Chris's inked pens what I was going to be working with, and then I only added one fountain pen. So the first one is the Majohn P139 in orange with a number 8 medium nib with Waterman Serenity blue, and it's an A double plus. It is just, there's nothing more I can think of that could please me more about the looks of the pen. The smoothness and the writing experience is spot on for me because it writes like a broad nib. And it's just very flowy without being obnoxious, because, you know, that can happen. But it doesn't. It hasn't with this one. And I just love it. I can't imagine not having that pen inked up. But I've said that about many of my pens. You know, it just became a quick favorite. So then next up was the Lamy Vista in broad nib with Endless Alchemy Mystic Forest, which I had only played with in the... well, it's not here. It's the little Serendipity Mini. So I was really eager to see it in one of my standard pens. And I gave it an A. Let's see, I said, note, this was better in a wider number 6 nib. Yeah, I think I was missing how it looked in that Serendipity, but that had a really broad number 6, you know, larger nib and everything. So I'm thinking, and you know, the feed is larger, so you get just a little more generous ink flow. Usually, Lamy broad nib is spot on, so I just liked it better in another one, that's all. Still A. And then next was the Lamy 2000 with the broad nib and Robert Oster Waterworld. That's the Dutch Pen Show 2025 exclusive ink. And that is an A+. It's really gorgeous. It's perfect for showing off this ink. I was getting some sheen. You know, we're going to look at the writing samples. So I think this is just mainly to give an overview first. Yeah, we'll look at the individual page, and then we'll get to see how the water brush did with it and all that. But the TWSBI Eco Transparent Purple, which has really become like one of my favorite pens now. I mean, I had a medium nib in it, and I switched it out. No, I had a stub nib in one and a medium nib. I left the medium alone and took the stub nib out and put a broad nib, and that's become one of my favorite pens. So it's a real juicy broad nib that came off of the TWSBI Go, I think, one of the TWSBI Go's. So I gave it an A+. It's super flowy. Now, after, excuse me, the other day after I graded these, yesterday, I realized, well, you know, the shimmer's not showing through a lot. This is actually shimmer ink. But the base color is so pretty. So I did kind of give it a pass because it you know, even when I have done this, you know, pretty well, I just can't seem to get a shimmer to land in the individual words. You know, I'll see it every so often. So I don't know. I should just not worry about that, because it doesn't matter. I won't use a shimmer ink unless I like the base color anyway. So, and this is really pretty. It's the Frankenstein. Oh, I just put Frankenstein. I didn't put Wearingeul, and I didn't put shimmer. My goodness, I got some bookkeeping to do. But I can't do it right now because I'll smear it all up when I turn the page. So, okay. So next up was the Jinhao X750 in pink with a broad yo-yo nib. And that had Robert Oster Sugar Rush. The Dutch pen show exclusive for 2024, and that's an A+. I'm really enjoying this one. You know, there's a lot of other inks I like in this color family, but this is right up there with them. So, okay, then next was the Opus 88 Koloro in red, you know, with a broad nib. That's a little number 5 nib with Ferris wheel press Algonquin maple, and it's an A+. But that's an old favorite. That didn't surprise me. That's an old favorite combination. Okay, and then the Benu Euphoria Pink Guava had Wearingeul Pride and Prejudice with a broad nib. And I did feel that broad nib was so juicy for this particular ink. I gave it an A because it's like it's more of a fire hose than I like, which I do like a really, really juicy nib. But I just felt like I even couldn't quite control things with it. And I think it would be better either in a drier broad nib, like maybe that Lamy, that particular Lamy nib. I noticed I had my black Lamy nibs on some of my old, my Jinhao 80s, I think they are. Yeah, 80s. And I'm thinking I might get those off because those were smoother, a little bit more juicy, and maybe because I've written with them longer. I do believe that's a thing, that after a while they do kind of, yeah, get used to you. But I still gave it an A. I just think that for that Schmidt nib unit, I think it needed to be a medium. That's just my theory. And then the Benu Brioletter Luminous Amber with the broad number 5 nib with the Robert Oster Bruijn or brown ink. This was Dutch Pen Show 2021. And I give it a B+. It was too light for me. It felt a little dry. I would go along pretty well, but it just wasn't keeping up with me anyway, which is kind of odd. I didn't find that with other brown, the darker, more saturated browns that I was using in that same nib. But, you know, it requires more checking. This is just the first pen nib combination I've tried with this ink, and it's brand new to me. So I don't want to throw it under the bus this early in the game. I'll try another of my pens. I'll try to come up with something different and see if I'm getting that same thing, because I like how it looks when I first start. And then, well, you'll see. We'll go to the full pages. Hopefully it'll show what I want to show you. But I know, because I've been writing so many letters, I could confidently say that I'm just not thrilled with it, but still good, just not my usual. Okay, then let's see. Next is the TWSBI Eco Clear with a broad nib, and I put an old favorite, Mont Blanc Psychedelic Purple. It's the Beatles, Mont Blanc the Beatles Psychedelic Purple. I love this ink. If you're looking for a close, very close dupe for it, though, TWSBI Royal Purple is definitely great. It's a kind of a small bottle, though. It's only 18 mil, I think. Let's see. Yeah, these are the little bottles. Anyway, because when I did them face-to-face comparison in a nib, I really would have been just as satisfied with the TWSBI ink. So it's gorgeous. You can't really beat this one, but it was pricey. So I wanted to know what exact one I could use in place of it. Okay, so then I went ahead and I inked up, this was rather spontaneous, the Sailor 1911 Large Asian Way from the cocktail series. This was a pen friend gift, and I put in it Sailor 50 States, Illinois, and this was kind of a test to see, is this pen a keeper for me? And it was just, it blew my socks off. It was amazing. So even though it's an extra fine, I found that it works really well in these small grids, and it's just really flowy. So I need to look back on what I had in it before, because whatever it was, I suspect I had Diamine Oxford Blue, which is a great favorite of mine too, but this did it. Like, this ink actually just pushed it beyond, you know, and made it like I want to pick the pen up a lot, like I really do, even though it's an extra fine, which if you know me, you know that that's kind of strange, different. There are a few in my collection though. I'm thinking of the Keras Custom, and there's another Pilot one too that I have that I'm going blank on what the pen is, but so extra fine is not off the table for me, but it has to be super smooth. I don't like scratchy and I don't like feedback. That's just how I am. So I gave this an A+. Definitely a keeper, I said. Okay, so now we're going to just go through each individual page. Oh, I've got to go backwards because I put, you know, I was an early bird. I was a sooner on this ink. I inked it up on August 25th. So this was the Majohn P139 with a medium, this orange and black with the gold trim. And I love this pen. I love everything about it. I know it's still kind of the honeymoon period. Haven't been a month with it yet, but good grief. Usually, you know, I could tell right away, and given if it doesn't break or anything, it just blows me away. And I am using Waterman's Serenity Blue in it. I'm kind of looking forward to trying out some more, but it's so smooth. I find the pen to be very great for the season we're going to go into, which is fall, which takes us a lot longer down here in South Texas to get to. But this is kind of like a promise. When I look at this pen, it's like, it's a promise. And of course, the other one that I feel that way with is the Opus 88 Koloro in red. Something about that also says fall to me, very much so. So yeah, beautiful. Oh, I didn't use a water brush with this. Well, I've done that before though, and I knew, because this is very, this ink is great with water. You can kind of tell here. But I guess because I knew, I was just eager to write with it and, you know, try it out and get started and so forth. Okay, so now we can go we can go to the first entry here, which is the Lamy Vista. This is my new one. I replaced the old one, even though I kept it still. I kept the old one because it's all worn off and it's stained and everything from, you know, several years of inky experiments. So I put in the Endless Alchemy Mystic Forest. It's not a shimmer? No, I guess not. I'm asking you, right? Okay. And yeah, this is really pretty. It wasn't, you know, it got an A. It was better in the juicier nib, that's all. But I still got a nice reaction with a water brush. I like the ink very much. And I wanted to see this particular green, more of it, you know. And like I said, I really believe that this is one of my newer Lamy broad nibs that I'm not as, like, broken in with. And there may be slight variances in those Lamy broad nibs. Basically, I just love them. So, okay. So next up was Lamy 2000 with the Robert Oster Waterworld. And I love this ink, and I especially love it in this nib, because this nib is very generous and smooth. You know, it's a gold nib. It's almost like a stub nib, but it's very rounded. Whoops, I don't even know where you're seeing that. Yeah, so it's grown and grown and grown on me. At first, I thought I was going to have to, like, trade or sell or buy, you know, do something different about the nib, but now I wouldn't. I would just... you know, look for an opportunity later for a medium one also, for a different writing type. But for the letter writing, I'm really happy with it now. So I'm glad I stuck with it. And this ink, it was gorgeous. I love how it acted with the water brush, and I just love how it writes. It's been in, everybody was getting pen pal letters from me this week, and I have been really trying to catch up. I can see from my list I still have 4 to write, but I have 3 going out, like 3 all ready to mail tomorrow morning. So I'm actually filming this on Sunday, the 14th, because I've got a busy upcoming week. So I wanted to do this. I was at the point where I needed to be with it anyway, so I decided to go ahead and get it done a day early. Okay, so next up was the TWSBI Eco transparent purple with Wearingeul Frankenstein, a shimmer ink. It's got a blue, kind of a bluish shimmer and quite a bit of sheen too. I love this, but I have to admit I'm not getting a lot of the shimmer onto the page, and I usually do remember to do my sloshing and rolling around with it, but I'm not having any clogging issues. This is a generous broad nib, and so I'm pleased with it, and it feels really smooth. So I'm not unhappy. Let me show you though. I mean, you know, when I do like this kind of thing, I got plenty of shimmer showing from it, you know, and of course I'm shaking the whole bottle when I go to do something like that, you know, stick a paintbrush in it. I shook the whole bottle really good. This is the chromatography, but I like this. I just, I almost like don't really, I don't need the shimmer in that one. I like the base color well enough. And if I was just going to do ink art, maybe I'd feel differently though. Okay. So next up was the Jinhao X750 with Robert Oster Sugar Rush, and of course that's like one of my favorite color families. So I'm super happy with this, and it writes really well. This is just a Yowo broad nib that was tuned over there by James Phineas at Wow, am I forgetting the name? Pensive Pens. I hope I'm saying it right. They're retired now, so I don't think they even have their shop open anymore. But it came on a Serendipity, and I didn't leave it on the Serendipity. I wanted it on this particular pen that I use a lot. So really nice. And this ink, this Robert Oster ink, reacts really nicely with the water brush. Super pretty. Well, I felt like the Wearingeul Frankenstein was nice too. Yeah, that was on 9/11, so. Okay. Okay, well, we don't need to read that. I don't mean to journal in these things. Oh boy. Okay. Next up was the Opus 88 Koloro with a broad, it's a little number 5 Opus nib. Could be any nib you want, I guess, then it's number 5. And this is the eyedropper pen. I've got it open because that's how I leave it, so I can write with it. And, you know, keep the flow going, unless I'm going to put it in a pen case. And I've got Ferris wheel press Algonquin Maple, one of my absolute favorite inks. And, of course, it was an A+ or A whatever. Let's see, what did I give it, A+? Yeah, A+. It's an old favorite. Just, I pick it up and I know what to expect, and I love the color, especially this time of year. Probably... It would be even better for October, but we'll see. maybe I'll still be writing with it for next month. It'll probably move over to my journaling pen case, so it's not going to go anywhere probably. Because that's, let's see, yeah, we're down to here, so, whoops. Yeah, we're down almost half, so that's pretty good. I've done a lot of letter writing. Okay, so next up was the Benu Euphoria in Pink Guava, and I put in Wearingeul Pride and Prejudice. I love this ink. So I'm eager to change things. In fact, I thought about pulling the nib and just putting a medium, you know, any number 6 medium Goulet nib or something in there just to see, but I'll probably test it first with this, with the Serendipity, because that's what I can do. I just haven't done it yet. So that's what this progress report traditionally for me is about, is kind of slowing down just a little and showing myself, well, what might I want to do? Because my theory is that this ink will be better with a medium nib, so I should try it with this. And then I can go, you know, switching them out if I think it's worth it to do that. Yeah, by then it'll probably be all gone. Let's see, maybe not. See where we're at. Oh, yeah. Yeah, by the time... Unless I hurry up, I've almost used the fill, which doesn't surprise me. It's a Garcher, you know. Seems more so with this ink than other inks that I've used in it. So I'll try that and see whether I think I'm going to be happy with that. I could even put that particular nib on that pen if I'm careful. Okay, so beautiful reaction to the water brush. Holy cow. This is a really good one for art, I'm sure. And then you get, in your writing, you get a lot of gold sheen. I'm going to see whether we can pick any of that up. You may be able to see it more as the outline around there. I don't know. I could see it with my eye. So it just depends on whether I'm hitting the light well enough. And there's quite a bit of light coming from that window next to me to the left of me. But okay, so now where are we at? We are on, oh, I skipped this page because as you can see, this did a little bit of seeping through, and I wanted to give this next ink a better chance because it was definitely heavy shadowing and slight, you know, kind of seepage where I put it on heavy. So I just wanted to give the next, you know, ink, which I knew was a lighter one, a chance in heaven of being able to see. So, okay, so next up is the Benu Brioletter in Luminous Amber with I put the broad nib over onto it. It shares, this one shares with the little scepter, the same broad nib, because I like the fine nib in this, but it has to be a super dark brown ink to make me happy in this one. And then, but this one didn't turn out to be a super dark brown, even though it looks maybe like it might be darker than it is on this tile. This is Robert Oster Bruijn. Please forgive me if I'm, you know, mangling it. It's brown, and it's Dutch Pen Show 2021. And I was really happy with it in the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines, but I write fast and it started to kind of fade out, or lighten up. Probably should have slowed down a little, but even if I did, I'm not sure. I kept on kind of, you know, I know this pen and nib, and it's been fine. So either the ink is a little bit dry, or I'm just used to the darker, more saturated medium to dark browns. I double inked, or you know, I went back over the edges and did the water brush twice for the B, but this is all you really get. It's very, very light and subtle with the water brush, so that tells me that it is less saturation for sure. So still not completely not picking, I'm picking it up. I just, I kind of like I want to do just a half page or something and go slower. You know, with it, because I'm just happier with a darker brown, that's all. It's a very simple thing. Okay, so then next up was, of course, an old favorite, put into the TWSBI Eco Clear with a broad nib. Mont Blanc, the Beatles Psychedelic Purple. I love this. And this didn't even have to be an outline letter to show how much it reacts to the water brush. It's great. It's beautiful, and I love it. So, you know, I knew this would be a no-brainer. This will move automatically over to my journaling case, and I knew I needed a purple to replace the ones I've cleaned out. So, okay. Then, this was the thing. I was doing a project where I was trying to choose my top 40 pens, and so I was in all the pen cases, looking at every pen I own. And I remembered this pen, because I saw it, you know, and I thought, oh, I think I liked this pen. I was still looking, though, for its forever match for ink. And then okay, so my pen friend that actually gave me this pen, Pen Friend MS, their favorite ink is this, favorite black, if I'm not mistaken, is this Sailor 50 States, Illinois. And the thing that I remembered was this person likes fine and extra fine nibs. So I thought, maybe if I try for that combination of an ink this person likes and this pen, which, you know, I was still searching for a favorite. So yes, it was an instant hit. And you know, I think that if I'm not mistaken, the nib, this is a 1911 Asian Way, extra fine. It seems to have a little bit of course, I don't want to press or push it or anything like that, but it does seem to actually have a little bit of, what would you call it? Not flex, but a little bit of give to it, which you can kind of see it in places, and I kind of like that. I like it a lot, and yet it's not difficult. I can still write fast with it, and I'm getting a generous flow. Whoops, I didn't do usually to kind of gauge that, I do a smear. Well, I guess we could do one right in the middle of the page. Yeah, so that's pretty good for an extra fine. Like, you kind of looks like the X, you know, you could see where it's coming from there, but really nice. So I'm glad that I picked this one up, because I thought, why am I putting this in the top 40? But it could very well be that it is going to be, but I'm still like, working over it. I've got my last like 4 or 5 positions. And I'll share with you. I'll do a video when I get done. Because if nothing else, it was a lot of fun. Whoops. I guess I showed you the tile. So, you know, again, this is a great ink. It reacted good to the water brush, and it's it kind of reminds me a lot of Oxford blue, but in this particular pen, this Sailor pen likes this Sailor ink. I don't know if that's why, because it's their ink or my brain or thinks so or what, but definitely I like this. I think I would just like continue to use that ink always in this pen for right now anyway. Really, really good experience. Okay, so I thought next, where we, oh, okay, been going a little while, but what we'll do is look at the ink colors. We'll look at the panel, because I like doing that. Okay, there, I got them all laid out, and, you know, I thought to myself, well, gee, I shouldn't put the Waterman Serenity blue because it doesn't go with this beautiful pen. I should be using either a black or an orange or even a brown just to kind of fit with the theme. But I'm glad I tried it with this ink first because, you know, it's been fantastic with it. So that'll give me like a good base to start with to know, you know, if I do encounter problems with some other ink like an orange one or, you know, then I'll know always that this one worked out so good so I can keep going kind of looking for inks that get along with it really well. And who knows, it could be that many inks will get along with it. I hope so. I wonder if anybody's had experience with it, you know, prior to me. I'd love to hear about that. You know, it does seem like a very generous number 8 nib with a medium. It writes more like a broad to me, and I like that. I don't know whether they're consistent or not. I've only got the one. And then, of course, I'm enjoying the green. You know, I even thought, though, about putting the 1.5 stub on that Lamy. I could do that really easily. So that's another one. That's 2 that I can do. Yeah, I need to try this ink with the medium nib. Let's see. And then I'm going to pull this out, too. I'll put them together, and then I'll remember, because I'd like to do that. Make sure that I'm not just talking about it. Okay. So the brown, you know, it just doesn't compete with Sailor 50 States, Texas. And also there are a few other darker browns that I really like better. But it's been a fun one to try. And I just think that often it's just finding that exact match of nib and ink in order to be happy with it. So, but I've been happy with all of these really, really well. That Waterworld in the Lamy 2000 with the broad nib has been great. So, okay. Well, that gave me a chance to just, you know, kind of look at my color palette all together. I didn't get too matchy-matchy. I've got two kind of blues there, and that's fine. Okay, I think and the purples are so far from each other. This is a darker one, and this is a bright. So we're good. I will turn the camera around and we can chat for a few minutes. There, okay. So that's the scoop on how things are writing. Pretty darn good, I would say. You know, just a couple little changes that I might be able to make things even better, and I plan to do that. I just had a couple of little subjects that they're not actually off topic though. Everything is kind of on topic to either writing or or ink or something. So the first one, I just wanted to show you what I was going to be writing in for my commonplace book. I just finished a little pocket one. I kind of used the hardcover pocket books, pocket size, for what I call commonplace. But this one, I'm not even sure what size. It compares really well with the B6 Slim, but I don't know. I really don't. It's a Midori, and it's inside a Midori like clear cover. Let's see, maybe it says back here. Oh, if it does, I don't know, because it's got Japanese writing, so I don't know for sure. I need to measure it and then go do some investigative work. But anyway, it's, you know, it's not that much bigger than the pocket. Just a little bit. you know, I'd say pocket would be fitting kind of in here. And I think that's actually going to be in my favor. Because when I use this, I take notes. If I'm watching some videos or doing some research, I just take the kind of notes that'll help me find where I was again. Or find a channel, oh goodness, that I liked or want to look into, whatever, if they have a website, you know, leaving myself little breadcrumbs without messing up my bullet journal so badly. So I love these, and I do look back on them. I've got an entire plastic Dollar Tree basket full of them, and sometimes I can even remember which book, because I use all different covers and colors. I don't stick to the same theme or anything. So that helps the brain, and sometimes I can find the book that I know I wrote something in, you know, or get close to it, like the one before or after. So I'm really enjoying this. You know, and I can pick up just about any of my, I have any of my pens and write in it. So I haven't had any bleed through or anything. If I remember right, with Midori paper, sometimes it'll feel a little dry to me, but that's not new to me because of CVS caliber. That's kind of the deal with CVS caliber also. And I got along really well with that Sailor 1911 pen in here. So I'm using that quite a bit. I'll come all the way back over here from my little library room to get it, just to use it. So that tells me something. So I just wanted to mention that. And then the other thing is kind of exciting. And I probably will do some sort of a video. I don't want to write too many checks that I can't cash because I'm busy right now. But the subject here is these little syringe things, a bulb, I guess, you know, I don't know what they're actually called. This one is old. I got it from Radio Shack. And so this is the first one that I tried Wendy Sue's technique, where you use like an eyedropper or a syringe to put some ink down, and then you puff the air and make your really cool ink splats. So I've been using this, but I started to really, really miss this because this has an unusual top to it. Let me see, will it focus? You can see that, I think, if I hold it where it's darker. This fits right into the Opus 88 section, and if you hold it nice and firm, when you're cleaning the Opus 88, it doesn't squirt out all over your face if you hold it right, and you can get a wicked good clean with this. Where, if you know what I'm talking about, the Opus 88 sections, you know, the whole thing, they don't do so well with the one that has the longer, you know, with the regular blue or white bulb syringe that we get from Goulet, it doesn't really fit really well. You can kind of do it, but yeah, I've taken some face baths trying to do that. So this one is my preferred one, but when you use it for that, then it's all wet, so then I don't want to come back over and, anyway, so to make a long story even longer, I decided to go and see what exactly it was that Wendy Sue was using. So they're these, and very similar. In fact, the difference, I think, between, because I don't know, maybe you can still get these. I got it online from Radio Shack years ago. It was Chris Rapp 52 that had these, and recommended them for cleaning certain pens that they would fit into, and sure enough, he was right. Gosh, I just don't know. In fact, the last time I tried to find one, I couldn't, but it's something for soldering or something, so who knows. It's probably out there somewhere, at some, probably Amazon or something, but I can find things if I want to devote that much time to trying to find it. But as long as this works, I've got one. So what happens with this, I think, is I feel like the air is more directed. So it's not necessarily stronger. Let's see. This one feels pretty strong, but it covers a larger area, so I don't feel like I have quite as much control as I do with this one. But I think this is fun because you never know what you're going to get or where it's going to go. But so I'm thinking when I do with these, I probably ought to be doing them inside a box top, you know, like that's easy enough to do. As it is, I just cover everything around and make sure there's no leather on the desk because you don't want to do that. Trust me, I found out the hard way. Not, you know, it was probably this one that I did that with. But what I mean is you don't do the directed air splats if you've got something precious that you don't want to get inked and splattered and no, have an apron on or whatever. So I've been looking. Coco gets almost everything that's a box top. So I'm looking for a smaller one. I'll find one. I don't like to sacrifice my a gallon box tops because who knows, Anyway, this has been fun to realize that they're similar, but the tips are different. They really are different. So you get a little bit different air. And if I can find this with within 5 or 10 minutes, I'll put it in the description. But this is easy to link because Wendy Sue had it linked on her somewhere on her channel or in a video. Anyway, I found it and I was delighted because I could get a set of them and, I only probably needed one, but we'll take care of that little by little. Okay, so one more subject that I wanted to make sure not to forget, then I can ramble, which mostly this is rambling anyway, but I did run into a realization this past, week and a half, because I've come out of kind of a period of time where I was a little more depressed than I realized because I didn't know till I felt that much better that it had hit me that hard. And that's kind of typical. That's the way it goes for me. Sometimes I won't realize till I'm like, whoa, this is really much better. I feel much better. And so that means I didn't realize that I had, felt that low. And anyway, I realized that I had some holes in one of my journals, where things got better. And as soon as they did, I just kind of let up on the writing. And I never do that in my bullet journal. And because I need to keep on track in there with the sleep tracking and with the daily list. If I don't at least have some targets, I'm not going to hit anything really. My brain will entertain me all day long without getting anything done that I truly want to get done. So I do use the bullet journal for that. And so there's very few holes there, but I don't cover other things. Now, so in my long form journal, I noticed there were a few blank spots, days where I didn't write anything. And then I thought, well, that's okay. I've got my calendar, I've got my bullet journal. But gee, I was trying to piece things together that I couldn't. So it made me realize that I'm not sure even what I want to do, but I definitely want to have more breadcrumbs for myself on the good days because I do think that's super important. Now, my process journal I didn't fall completely off of, but I did have some missing pages, and that disappointed me because I know that down at the bottom I put accomplished, mistakes, and surprises. That's something I added because of pen friend Carol mentioned, and also. Well, any of you familiar with that journal format that my counselor Tim gave me? That one gives you, the best part of your day, the worst part, the most stressful, how you could have handled things, how you did handle it, how you could handle it better, gratitude. It's very rich, and you could just pick and choose. But I often very hardcore about it when I'm not feeling well, like if I'm depressed at all or anxious, really, if I'm really having symptoms, especially in the mental health realm, then I know that tool is just absolutely necessary. But I guess what I'm going to do is maybe put together an alternate journaling kind of a list or format that's just slightly different, because if I'm having a non-stressful day and I'm not really having to analyze and come up with how I could have handled it better, which, it's pretty important when I'm not, functioning as well. Anyway, I thought, well, I wonder if I'm the only one that kind of goes dark in the journal. And then when I really enjoy looking back. I think there's a lot of value in it. The other piece to that, not only did I kind of let up a little and I was disappointed because some of my days didn't have writing, and still all was not lost because I could still find the important, milestones or things that we did, but the other piece to that Oops. Okay, so the other piece is that I really want to know not only what I did, but what I was thinking. And so if I write about something that happened, even like I'm not going to use specifics, but, something that happened that week or that day, and I write about it, just generally, then when I look back on my journal, what I really want to know is, how do you feel about that, Chris? I want to feel free enough to, in my journal, write more detail about what I was thinking, what that did to me, what it made me look up, or what it made me question or think, or so I don't know if I'm articulating this right at all, because it's a little bit weak in my mind, but what I guess generally getting across is I want to up my game journaling. And gosh, I follow someone called Documented Journey, Bree from Documented Journey, and I love how she does it. And I don't think she's scattered across as many books as I am, but I can't narrow it down to just one or two. And of course, she's an artist, so there's a sketchbook involved too. And she's got regular journaling that we don't see all of that, because that's very personal. But it's a good thing. It's not a negative thing that I'm believing that I want to kind of fine-tune my journaling, but I definitely don't want to ever look back again where I know that for the past 2 to 3 weeks I've been doing a lot better, but I don't. But I have this glaring, like, oh, so now you don't think you need to journal as much because you feel better? And there's a lot more than that. I want it to be a tool and a joy that is, something that I do as much when I feel well. Because those breadcrumbs are important too, because there might be lots of good clues in there. Wow, the light completely changed. Like, I guess the outdoor light must have changed. Everything was all fine, and then all of a sudden it just kind of went down. Anyway, that may be the sign, right? The sign that that's enough. It's plenty of a video. But I have definitely been enjoying writing and catching up with my letters. Like I said, I had 2 come in yesterday, or else I would only have 2 left in the reply pile. And so that's a really good thing to look forward to. And I was able to write to, like, my mom and my friend in New York. They're not, fountain pen pals or anything, but still count as writing letters too. So I hope that I'll hear from you in the comments. And I also need to catch up on answering comments too. For a while there, I was almost caught up, or I had only some of the older ones to catch up on. But then I got quite busy this week and looking at a few things this coming week too. But I still have part 3 to do of the pen cases series. So the final part will be coming sometime this week. I'm just like, yeah, it will, because it's the one I've been looking forward to, because it's the to-go cases and sleeves, and it's going to involve the rickshaw stuff and other things that are handmade. And oh my, it's quite a collection or conglomeration of really wonderful things. But anyway, so that's coming. And so let's meet in the comments. And this is going to be so long, I don't know if it'll even upload. Nope, it won't upload before I call my mother. So I will see you in the comments eventually. And let me know how you're doing with your pens and inks, or whatever else you're exploring. And if you happen to know about this, hopefully I'll find it. Though when I do the description, I will look. I don't want to lose this, because I really cleaned those Opus 88s well with that one. And, there's many other ways I could go about it, but I like that procedure. So I'll see you next time. Bye for now.